Hey guys, welcome back to Ironside Ranch. So we really appreciate you guys jumping on. Make sure and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. That really does help us out. It's a great way to get back to us. Now today we got a really special guest. We got Chris Taylor with Financial Prepper, formerly Financial Fitness. I always want to get those backwards, but it's Financial Prepper now. It used to be Financial Fitness. But anyway, so Chris is going to talk to us a little bit today about things where he's putting his money. Right, neither one of us are financial advisors, so we're not telling you where you should put your money, but where we are kind of putting our money and kind of hedging our bets for this 2023 recession that we're already in, how bad this is going to get, and what we're going to do. So that being said, Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Mackay. Hey, everybody. I'm glad to be here, and I hope we can shed some light on the subject. I know we're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about precious metals, real estate. There's several places to put money, but that's the question, right? Where do you put money? Do I even keep my money in banks? Now, bank failures are not uncommon. There's been quite a few of those through history, and as of late, there has been zero. That's kind of strange, but we'll just kind of cover what I'm following, what I've been doing for a while, and where would you like to start? I know you had some questions about where I stand on Bitcoin.
Well, so Bitcoin specifically because it's kind of the gold standard, right, of the cryptocurrencies, and we saw, I'm sure you saw that where Ninja did a video 3 or 4 days ago about the Bitcoin price kind of bouncing back. I think it was in MSNBC or something. They were talking about that. Has it hit its bottom and it's on its way back up? And so, is now a decent time to be putting money in cryptocurrency? Should we be looking at cryptocurrency? And then, again, Bitcoin being kind of the gold standard there. Is that, do you think Bitcoin is a relative or a decent place to store some wealth?
Well, let me start off by saying fortunes are made by taking a lot of risk with a little bit of money. I've been known to say maybe 1% of whatever you're worth. People, when I talk about crypto, people lose their minds. Oh, it's a pie in the sky. It's nothing. You're going to lose all your money. Well, if you lose 1% of your money, you're not hurt. Yeah. That's the thing. And Bitcoin is the gold standard of crypto. It was the first. It's the grandfather, And the problem with it is I think we've got some massive regulation coming. And I'm starting to feel, getting the call from you about Bitcoin, and I started kind of looking around, just seeing all the Bitcoin shillers that I've looked at through, the years. All of them are posting, it's now, it's real freaky thumbnails, don't miss out, and all this FOMO type stuff. And anytime I start to feel that FOMO, fear of missing out, I like to lock up the brakes. Just hold up a minute. Let's not, take it easy. Any kind of high pressure sales situation, whatever it may be, is usually a no-go for me. And I've got crypto. I've got several speculative ones. I made hundreds of thousands of dollars in crypto, and then I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in crypto because that's where the field I was playing in. Mm-hmm. I'm still ahead of the game. I'm still, in the green, but not like I was. And there's no telling. Crypto really is fugazi. It really is way out there in my opinion. And I can possibly see it going to $500,000. So does it matter if you buy at 22 or 23? Maybe
or
not.
65.
Right.
65 not that long ago. So, I liken it to what Benjamin Graham said in The Intelligent Investor, and he would talk about in that book. Obviously, that was before cryptocurrency was a thing, and he's talking about precious metals, and that he thinks that a small percentage, and if I remember right, I want to say it's 2 to 5% of your total net worth could be in precious metals. Because it's such a small percentage, it wouldn't hurt you, and when it has the nature of taking off, it can be very volatile, and you can make a lot of money. And I look at cryptocurrency in a lot of that same light, that it can be very volatile, and you can make a lot of money, but I'm not putting anything in there I'm not going to lose.
2 to 5% in precious metals. I haven't heard that one. I've heard 10 to 50, but that's, you want enough in precious metals to hedge against inflation. Precious metals has been here since the dawn of time. Crypto has just popped up out of nowhere, and the guy that invented Bitcoin is nowhere to be found. It's a weird situation. And I can't help but think there's a lot of nefarious things going on behind the scenes. I'm not saying it won't go to $1 million. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying something's very odd about the whole space. Mm-hmm. The one thing it's got going for it is it's decentralized and it's digital, so you can move in and out of it. And that's what these whales do. They'll buy it up, they'll run the price up, they'll get everybody fired up again, and they'll jerk the carpet out from under them. And they do it over and over and over. And this time might be different, or they might just be calling the masses in to jerk the rug out from under them again. So if you are into crypto, more power to you. I am too. I think it's cool. I think blockchain is cool. I think our elections ought to be backed up on the blockchain. There would be no more voter fraud. You really could utilize the blockchain technology, but I still think it's really young for cryptos, the decentralized ones that the government could say, hey, we're going to cut your head off if you've got Bitcoin. What do you think that would do to the price? And we're not, they're looking at some really harsh regulations with all this FTX, the fried bank man, all that stuff going on. Several platforms are bust. They're going bankrupt. We're starting to get in that. I'm really surprised Bitcoin's doing as good as it is, actually. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it could be getting people to FOMO in and then get some more money out of them and then let it go down to where I'll be interested in it. I've said this before. I'll be interested in cryptos again when it looks like cigarette butts on the sidewalk. When it looks so nasty and nobody wants anything to do with it, that's when I'm going to back the truck up and probably liquidate some of my precious metals for crypto. Not a lot. You're going to get all kind of hate in the comments over me trading precious metals for crypto, something that's physical and hard and it's been money forever, into something that's, here today, possibly gone tomorrow. But they say you can't kill it. It's like a cyber cockroach. I get it. But just know it's early. And if you are getting into crypto of any type, it is on you to put it on a cold wallet. Mm-hmm. Take possession of it yourself. Do not leave it on a crypto exchange. If you do, you deserve to lose it all, because I have told you, everybody, you've heard that 100 times over, because these platforms that are going belly up, it's gone. Boop, it's just gone. The government can come in the back door and say, hey, we're seizing all this crypto because we want to use it for our purposes. Sorry, oh well. Mm-hmm. So just know that. I mean, that's
I
really,
don't
really
know
important.
why anybody would leave their money on the exchange. I don't care if you had just $100 in there. The first $100 in crypto should be buying a ledger or a treasure, so that you can store that. So yeah, I'm 100% with you.
Well, I've actually got some on some exchanges that I can't get off. I can't. I'm locked up in some. What do they call it? It's not mining. I can't think of the platform. It's where I could put the link token, and it would grow and do what it's supposed to do. I don't know. It's really hard to understand. I should have never got into it. If you don't understand it and you don't know how to get out of it, that's the main thing, is know how to get out of it. And I just put a little bit over there. It wasn't much. I want to see how it worked. And sure enough, I can't touch it. I can't do anything with it. It's just there. So put it on a hard wallet and forget about it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, so you had mentioned, even changing out some precious metals, and you're right. Some people are definitely going to get some hate mail down in the comments for that. I think my kind of rule on assets is I'm interested in trading assets to go up, right? And so the top tier asset for me, having a small farm and just being a real estate person, is real estate. And so if I'm trading up in assets, I'm trading cryptocurrency for precious metals for real estate is kind of the cycle that I'm looking at going up. So it's interesting that I get what you're saying. You buy at the bottom and try to you buy when it looks like cigarette butts, but it's just kind of interesting. I hadn't thought about selling any precious metal to get cryptos. So that being said, Chris, I know you had just talked, you guys did your video, I think it was this morning that came out, or yesterday, where you guys did that, those little dollars that you guys had, the gold dollars that were like $5. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all, or any of those as far as the precious metals go.
Yeah, that was called can't even think of,
Like
What do they call it?
goldback? Is that what you called it?
Goldback. Yeah, goldback. The goldback is it is beautiful. It's a beautiful little thing. I wish I had it over here. It's like a 1,000th of a ounce,
Yeah.
and the premiums are way too high, and it's a no-go, pretty much all the way around. But it is art, and it's a good way to kind of wake somebody up that doesn't know anything about, hard assets, precious metals, pretty, if you're really into precious metals, I would like to have a couple of them just to give as Christmas presents or something, kind of a novelty thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say if you bought an ounce of gold doing that, it was going to cost you about $5,000. I'm pretty sure that was right.
Mm-hmm.
A little over $5,000 after the premium. And, so it's a big trouble to make those things. They go to a lot of trouble to make 1,000th of an ounce, press it out, and put all the decorative stuff on it. So you could tell, that's why the premiums are so high, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't push those at all. But it's one of those avenues you can take if you're in small denominations. And that was the whole thing with the goldback was the small denominations is what people are into for bartering and stuff like that. They've got a Valcambi bar that it's like 1.5 ounces of gold, I want to
Mm-hmm.
say, and it's cut in grams. It's got hash marks on it where you can snap off, 1 gram, and you can use in fractional like that. They've got them in silver. That would be, in my opinion, a better way to go in the fractional gold part. And as far as silver goes, I would say constitutional silver to achieve that goal of having a small denomination precious metals. Constitutional silver is pre-65 dimes and nickels. I'm sorry, dimes and quarters. They did have nickels, but that's a whole different ball game. And and now the premiums are way up on those. They have come back down, but as things get weirder in the Thunderdome, that kind of stuff does good. When I started buying it, it was just a couple bucks over spot, and I think the last I heard it was maybe $11 or $12 over spot.
So let me ask you this, Chris. What's your trigger for selling gold and silver? At what point in time do you say, yeah, I think I want to offload some of this silver and some of this gold and get some capital value out of it?
Well, I don't ever plan on selling a certain portion. So I will have precious metals that sit there like insurance. It'll just be there. It's an emergency fund. It's a hedge. It's just there, preferably away from your house. Mine's away from my house. It's just there. Now, I have, every time the market takes a dip, I buy a little extra. And that's what I plan on buying assets with. Now, I did say crypto earlier, but, when crypto looks ugly as I think it's going to, it's not going to take very much gold. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to take very much gold to buy a whole lot of crypto.
Mm-hmm.
But, I could be wrong. Crypto might go to the moon. But, so you've got a certain portion, and I figure when you see a bunch of new YouTube channels talking about gold's going to the moon. There's a big gold bull on the front of the New York Times talking about how gold is on a rip. It's never going to stop. It's going all the way to the moon, just like we've seen real estate, just like we saw Bitcoin to 68,000 or whatever it was, 65. Everybody's talking about it. I'm going to start selling some and probably buying, hopefully, some more real estate. I'd like to get heavier in real estate. My goal is 100 doors. And possibly some land, something hard. I'm real simple when it comes to investing, just hard assets. And a lot of times the wealthy people I know have businesses that pay them. They have assets that pay them. They're cash flowing every month. Bam, bam. It's paying them every month to own this, whatever it is. And those are the kind of things that I'm going to try to buy with my precious metals. Some people.
That was actually my next thing to talk to you about was businesses and investing in small businesses. So it's interesting that you bring that up, and it's kind of a good segue over, unless you've got something that you want to talk about more on precious metals. But how are you looking at small businesses? And are you specifically staying in real estate and it's your small business that you're owning, or are you looking at other small businesses around and trying to go buy a share of whatever tavern, Clifford's Tavern down the road, or you know what I'm saying? Like what are you doing to try to get businesses and cash flowing assets like that?
Real estate would be, you just don't know because, if it depends on how bad the crash is. The real estate crash is really starting. They're really starting to get hammered in Canada. I was just working on a story on that. They had like 59 houses between September and October of 2021 that sold for a loss. And in 2022, they had 249 houses that sold at a loss. So it's really starting to get to where real estate's going to start looking interesting. So that's what I'm planning on. But man, my timing is awful. my timing, the market is, I think it's the worst. That's why it's important just to get somewhere, find plenty of conviction to stay there. No matter how bad it is, you're just going to stay there and buy more, and assume broken clock status. You're right eventually, and then take that stead money and put it into something else. Now, what other business that might be? First thing that comes to mind is energy. Anything energy, some kind of pipeline, some type of battery, electrical, miners. I'm heavy in miners. I'm not as heavy as I want to be in uranium just yet. I'm not sure. I talk a lot about gold and silver miners, lithium, and some uranium. I've got some, but I'd like to get a little more. But that's where I'm leaning, is the things we have to have. Food, anything like that. Grain of some type.
I'm sorry, Chris. I think there's a little bit of delay, so I don't mean to interrupt you. Are you looking at publicly traded stocks as far as like mining companies, or what are you looking at to put money in those?
Yeah, so the mining companies they're having to pay all the overhead that is going up, right? All the diesel, everything it takes to run a business, and they're just still trying to find whatever they're looking for, whether it be silver, gold, copper, whatever it is. So it looks to me that they're almost at an all-time low. If you look at all the other assets that were way up here, now they're about right here. The miners are down here. They're way down. And we're going to have that stuff to keep going green. If we're going to go green in the future, we're going to have copper. We're going to have all the stuff to make batteries. We're going to have silver. And I figure a lot of people are going to want gold because, it's real money. It's actually a limited supply. So, there's that play. And it just looks cheap to me. And that's the main thing I'm buying lately is mining stocks of various companies. And I've got probably over 50 junior miners, and they're the speculative ones, make small bets on big things, a little bit of money can asymmetric bet is what you should call it, actually. This much could go this far, or it could go to nothing. And I have a lot of them that will probably go to nothing because there's just no way for me to know. There's no way for anybody to know. They're junior miners, Half of them are probably a liar standing next to a hole in the ground. That's why I'm playing so many, though. You do your best. You look at the team, see if they've done it before. A lot of them have done it before. And I've been playing that card lately just because it's cheap. And I sold my rental properties because they were expensive. It got to where rental properties got expensive, so I sold them. And when they get cheap again, I'll buy them. Mm-hmm. That's the plan. But time will tell, and it might take a couple years. And the miners could get even uglier. Actually, all of it could get uglier. I'm thinking we're still looking at a pretty big crash. That's why I'm not just going crazy in anything at the moment.
Well, I think 2023 is certainly going to get uglier, and I don't see much possibility of us getting out of this anytime soon. But I will say there's a little bit of oh, I don't know, green pastures on the horizon. When you look at the real estate market, we're starting to see a little bit of a dead cat bounce with the real estate market, where the real estate market had died. And I know your wife's a realtor, so I don't know how much active real estate she does or not, Chris. So I don't know if she stays up with the market, but everything here in kind of nationwide has been dying out for the fall, and then once New Year's was over, we still kind of stayed slow, and then now all of a sudden, about 15th of January, things really started picking back up, and actually better sales than what you had last year. So you're seeing a little bit of a dead cat bounce with that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet what that means for the market. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Man, it's a really interesting time in real estate because you've got a tight supply and interest rates are high. And usually when that would happen, the supply would be better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's not. So it's kind of, it's just odd. It's a strange, and I'm looking for an opportunity to get back in. But like I said, it's probably going to be a while. And,
Uh,
I've been watching the best I can, but it just hasn't really changed much around here. We have a very linear market. It's just kind of, I mean, even through 2008, it kind of, went down, but it didn't do like California.
hmm Yeah, and I think the markets are always the things happen at the extremes, and it's those extreme edges where you see the most money made, the most money lost, like you said in California. But then in your area, I think you've got a lot of oil in your area, right? And I think that probably helped stabilize the market for 2008 there. And there was a number of pockets around the country. And what's interesting is my grandfather passed away, and so we're selling, or my family's selling his house in South Carolina. And their real estate teams that are looking at it are saying that not only has the market not declined here, but they're not anticipating a decline over the course of the next 9 months, which I find very interesting. And granted, you got to be a little bit careful with realtors because some of them will tell you what they want you to hear to get that commission check. But
Brokers too.
yeah.
Yeah, real estate brokers. Nobody remembers 2008, 2010. We just got back from Florida. Me and the Economic Ninja took our dads up there. They're over there. And everywhere you look, they were breaking ground. They were building like there was no tomorrow. It was really crazy. And Ninja said, this is exactly what it looked like in 2006, 2007. He said, this is exactly the same thing that was going on. But, it takes so long to do that, to get a building, and then things get bad, and then the buyers back out, and all the stuff that happened. We didn't stop going down to like 2012. It was like 4 years, so we're looking at 2 or 3 years of who knows what. And asset prices might go to the moon if the Fed pivots and does some kind of weirdo 40-year mortgage or something like that. That would make housing prices go nuts. But there's just no telling. I just know I would hate to be holding rental properties when inflation is going crazy and jobs aren't as good. Yeah, there's jobs, but they're just not very good. People are having to work 2 jobs. The American dream is slowly eroding away. Where you could move to America and work your way to the top and live the American dream. Well, you can't hardly work your way through college anymore. That used to be the thing. You could work through college, but not now. I'm not saying you can't. I mean, I guess you could sleep in your car and all that kind of stuff, but it's just not like it used to be. And I can't imagine trying to move rental properties or get good renters in that kind of environment. So, I'm hoping for the best, but I'm prepared for the worst. We still have one, and it's paid for. And I thought it would be a good thing if my parents or anybody needed a place. Some family member or something like that. You could work something out with them like that.
It's a substantially different equation when the property is paid for versus when you're borrowing on it too. Those are two very, very different equations when you're looking at real estate properties. So, I mean, my wife and I, we've been in and out of the rental business, and we don't have anything right now. We're kind of like you. We sold everything. The only thing that we're doing right now is actually renovating an Airbnb here on the farm so that we can kind of get people out here doing different things. But that's got that's got different intentions, anyways. But to kind of just touch base here on the stocks and stuff like that, you had talked about um, 50 different small mining companies and that sort of thing. And we've done something similar. I do a lot with ETFs. I do some with stocks, but I'm a big fan of ETFs because they diversify you, and you're not going to probably make a killing on them, but it's a great way to make a steady income over the course of a lifetime and not have a huge exposure to risk. So I do a lot with them. We have, over the course of last year, before everything kind of crashed, we pulled everything out and put it all into a money market account and pull all of our stocks and everything out, put everything into one money market account and said, okay, we are going to one by one, $1,000 at a time, add this back into the market on where we need it today. Because the reality of it is we looked at it and we found that, okay, these are not things that should be invested in right now. And if I wouldn't buy this today type of analysis on this. And so that's why we just said, okay, let's pull everything out and we'll start adding back in. And we've since added in about 25% of our overall portfolio. And I think we're going to stick right there and just kind of hold it for the time being and keep that dry powder ready to go for opportunities or a stock rally or whatever is going to happen.
That's what the wealthy are doing. Most of the wealthy are stacking cash.
Mm-hmm.
That is just, and they're good with missing out on, the market's going up another 10, 20, 30%, whatever. They're just good with it. They're saying, no, I'm out and I'm just going to wait. And I have a lot of respect for these people. And if you're holding cash and waiting, I think you're doing right. I mean, like I said, my timing is wrong usually, and it is. But I would hate to miss out on something like what happened in 2020. Bitcoin was $3,500. Mm-hmm. Nobody likes to talk about that. I get on these Bitcoin talks, and nobody likes to talk about that. Yeah. They don't like me at all in there because I bring up stuff they don't want to talk about, but you can't ignore that. You can't ignore, the stock market was awful looking. And that was the time. That was the gift that I did not take advantage of. I was invested in a lot of things, and it was kind of a scary time to invest. So I hope when it happens this time, we have the guts to really start taking some licks, really start getting out there. Your $1,000. You remember this after 2008, real estate investors were buying real estate 20 cents on the dollar. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's when you start thinking about the deals that are coming or that could possibly come, it's just there's no way I would buy an expensive stock right now and hope it goes up higher. It's just not the way I invest. And, and somebody that knows markets and how to read charts is probably a little better at me by swing trading and stuff like that. I'm just not into that. It's not my thing. I'm a hard asset kind of guy, land, equipment. You can move equipment, buy farm equipment and flip it, buy houses, rent them, gold and silver, miners for a speculative bet. Gold and silver to me is just kind of a, hedge. That's how it's real wealth, in my opinion. And hold a big pile of cash. Have a big sack of cash just waiting for deals and opportunities, because I'm telling you, there's more people in credit card debt. I had no idea how much credit card debt people carry. They carry it and they pay 20, 21% interest, and they never get rid of it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know of an investment on the planet where you can make 20%. It's like, and people ask me, well, okay, I got all this. I got credit card debt, and I got this, but I got this much money. Well, the very first thing you should do is pay off the credit card debt, because you can't make that anywhere else. Mm-hmm. You got to get out of it. So, and it's not just a few people; it's a lot of them. And if you're in that, and I'm talking to you, I'm not beating you up. I'm trying to encourage you and try to make sense of it, because getting out of that debt is going to be a monkey off your back, and then you will be free to invest however you want to. You won't have that draining you. It's just. a lot of people are in that predicament. And when they pay it off, they feel like they don't have any money, but I don't see a
This
way around
this comes back to kind of the idea, you've got Dave Ramsey on one side that says no debt ever, and then Robert Kiyosaki on the other side that says borrow up to your eyeballs and then borrow more. And so, where on that spectrum do you fall? But I think as a general rule, most financial gurus out there, everybody kind of agrees that, carrying credit card debt is a really, really bad way to live and to go through life. So it's certainly, if you have that, that is a debt that you need to be looking at getting rid of, and clearing off as much debt as you can so that you can take advantage of these opportunities. There are calculated business debts that are risky, but that they're doing expansion, buying buildings, buying real estate, hard assets, that sort of thing that makes some sense. But certainly carrying those credit card debts is not one of them. Okay, Chris, we only got a couple minutes left. So the last thing I want to talk about is the one comment that always comes up with people, and they talk about what to put their money into. It's the beans, bullets, and Band-Aids, right? So guns and ammo, food, and medicinal supplies preparing for us going into what you always call the Thunderdome. So it's that's if you're not familiar with Chris's channel, by the way, head over there, and I'll post a link to it down in the description. But that's what he always calls what we're heading into is the Thunderdome, because it's kind of unknown what this is. So what are your thoughts there, Chris? What do we need to be doing?
Well, then really we probably should have talked about this first, because if you don't have 3 months of food or 6 months of food or a year's worth of food, is where I'd like you to be. Where I think it just makes sense to me. Get food first. Get secure water first. Secure the things you need to survive on first before you do any of these speculative things. And these. And I'm a little bit like this too, this gambler mentality, well, I'll wait to buy food and I'll wait to do this because I want to make this bet on this mining company, and then I'll use that money to buy my food and stuff like that. But every time I've done that, I've lost. Mm-hmm. So if you could secure food, water, fuel, I recommend 3 different types of fuel, 3 different ways to power. I've got an electric water heater. I've got a gas water heater, You really need, we've got propane, electric, I've got wood burning stoves, I've got pellet stoves, I got a way to heat, cool, and take care of my family aside from everything else. Because if we really did go into the Thunderdome, which I hope not, it seems like it's likely with Putin and all, who knows what's going on over there. But it wouldn't take much. I mean, this thing is held together with duct tape. Nothing is holding this thing together. And if we have one more lockdown or something like that, these riots are getting worse, anything like that, you're going to want your food. You're going to want a warm stove to be by. A wood-burning stove, to me, is an absolute no-brainer. Even if you don't need it right now, you can stick it on a shelf. I can almost guarantee it won't go down in value. It's literally like buying an asset, a hard asset like gold or silver or something like that, and you can just stick it on a shelf and not mess with it, and you can sell it later or use it later. I would recommend getting an air conditioner, a small window unit, just for your bedroom, because it's hard to sleep when it's hot. And you could pop that in your, the lights did go out, you could run your generator and cool, and at least get a few hours of cool night's sleep. It gets really hot in Louisiana, and the lights went out here in the summertime, and we were sweating bullets trying to sleep, and it was miserable. And I said I'd never do that again. So I got a small window unit that I could stick in the, my window, and that's a good one. So you got your generator. I have gas and diesel generators, and fuel. Gas is hard to keep. That's why I have a couple of diesel generators. They're just my old welding machines. They're actually the generator type welding machines, not so much the older ones as the newer ones. So they supply a lot of electricity. But diesel fuel will last a long time out of the ground. And you can drain the water off of it, ever so often. And it stays good for a really, really long time. And if you have a big enough tank like I have, you can pay somebody, a fuel company, and they'll bring it out to you and they'll fill it up. It's things like that I would recommend first before any type of, asymmetric bet mentality, betting, investing. But yeah, is there any other, we can talk about prepper stuff all day long. I mean, chickens. I mean, we can go all into that. I mean, it's easy for me to talk about investing because I kind of got my preps, you know. I'm kind of, I mean, we could all do more. I'm looking at solar now. I keep thinking it's going to get cheaper. So we'll see.
I'm doing the same thing right now, actually setting up for solar here. So I've got my, the power company makes you have an AC disconnect switch on the power line and all that crap, and those are pretty pricey. But so finally getting that and the inverter set up. So we're making some progress there, and we may have to jump on and do a video on that here on all of that kind of prepping baseline stuff first, Chris. Zoom's gonna kick us off in about 2 minutes, so we need to kind of wrap this one up. But certainly that'd be a fun video to do. I'd be down.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can
All
talk
right,
about
guys.
that.
Well, Chris, if you don't have anything else, guys, make sure you go check out Financial Prepper. Like I said, I will put the link to his channel down in the description. It's a great channel. Him and his wife jump on there. They have a lot of really valuable information to pass out on there. And Chris stays up with stuff pretty well. He does a lot better job with thumbnails than I do. So enjoy his channel and have fun with it. Other than that, we'll catch y'all later.
All right, man. Later.